Hello everyone, Thomas from Medieval Review here. It is very late at night, but I couldn't wait to tell you this story. So this is going to be what I'm going to call a HEMA big fish story. From where I'm from, big fish stories are stories you tell that no one will probably believe, but it totally happened. So Thursday nights are our practice nights for my HEMA group. We actually changed it around, and I'm getting used to kind of a late night instead of an early morning practice session. But we were doing some light sparring today, and I was using this sword, my Castile Armory Fader. I love this fader. It's really great, a lot of fun to use. And of course it's customized to look a little bit like my Albion Gallowglass. It's my own way of being able to represent. Put it through some abuse, it's getting a little bit of dents and dings in it, but it's holding up really well. But something very interesting happened with this sword today. So I was sparring, and I don't really know how we got where we were, but essentially I went to something of a quasi-cron. So I was going up with the hilt, higher than my head. My intent was actually to then go to an ox, and strike in at my opponent. And I found myself in a very, very strange bind. And I wasn't really sure why I wasn't able to move my sword. And I wasn't really sure why my opponent looked very confused as well. Well, basically what happened was my opponent actually took his sword, and he was going to try to, because I went to a cron, he was actually going to try to zukin, or pull, and thrust underneath. And I anticipated that to some extent, and actually tried to block it. And this is what happened. His fader managed to go right into this little cutout part in the quillin. And of course we're wearing all of our gear and our face mask, and we can't necessarily always see exactly what's going on. But we were really confused by this, and we struggled for a while trying to get out of the bind. Everyone else thought it was quite comical. We were just befuddled. I think that's pretty much a 1 in a million shot there, to get right into that little cut out piece of the quillin. Yeah, I wasn't really planning on doing a video tonight because I was going to practice and then come home and go to sleep. But I had to tell that story because it's ridiculous, right? Worth noting, he didn't have a tip. We were doing light sparring, so he didn't have a properly tipped fader. It was a Reginier fader, so it has kind of a smaller tip to it anyway. It was just bizarre. So I think I found a new defensive move. It's to put little holes in your quillin so you can catch people's blades when they really don't expect it. No, it was actually quite terrible. I was a little bit worried that I was going to break the tip of his sword because we were really wrenching it and bending it, trying to figure out what was going on. And it was just a very, very strange feeling because I've felt many different types of binds before, and this bind felt wrong. It felt almost illogical because it was coming from the wrong direction. I don't really know how to describe that. So it makes me wonder, though, are there other big fish stories for HEMA? Does anybody else have the kind of unbelievable story, the thing that no one's going to believe actually happened? I would love to hear it. If you have a big fish story within your HEMA class or something that happened at a tournament, I want to hear it. Post it in the comments below. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with, what stories you have to tell. I may not believe you, but I'm interested in hearing it. Cheers, guys.